Hello, bonjour. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for watching my video, and special thanks for those who subscribe to my channel. This video is called Battle Group Training, Part 5, so the movement orders. So when we talk about movement, it means your infantry or your vehicle will be moving. In Battle Group, it moves in inches. So let's look at the movement summary table. This table, as we can see, you got infantry, vehicle, cavalry, bicycle, horse, aircraft, etc. marked on it. So you get off-road and on-road. Each movement is counted in inches. This table is also the same table for every army. So you have the Allied force like British and American, or the German, or the USSR, infantry, cavalry, bicycle, horse, manhandled aircraft, all have the same movement. So off-road for the infantry is 5 inches, on-road is 5 inches. And when you look at vehicle, you have to go to another table. Like for this example here, we have the soft skin movement table for the German. Also, the American have a soft skin table for their vehicle because they are different vehicles. British have their own, and USSR as well have their own for soft skin. When we talk about soft skin, it's anything that cannot defend himself, basically. That's the idea behind soft skin, is there's no armament, and if they get shot at, any bullet will be going through it. So a truck, pretty easy to understand that. They have their own table with on-road and off-road distance in inches. The third way to know what is the movement is to look at armored vehicle, and for that you just have to go to armament for the German, for example. You got all the tank marked on it, all the armored vehicle marked on it. The half-track are marked on it because they are all vehicles on the front line that can return fire and defend themselves, attack the enemy. So when you go the armament for the German, for example, we can see through the column of armored vehicle, the Panzer IV-J, like we have on the table here. And the table gives you the off-road range, the on-road range, as well as his thickness of his armament in front, side, and the back. And that's the same for armored car, for example, like the Scout car SDK FZ222. You can find a table, will give you the same thing. Off-road, on-road is thickness of his armored, and how many round he can shoot during the game before he need to be resupplied. So that's how we know what is the movement for each vehicle. By the movement summary table, where they give you for everybody walking troops. Then you got soft skin vehicle for every youth, every army. And then each vehicle, like tanks, have their own table for that. Now we have the basic of movement for all the troops on the battlefield in battle group. We will look at the terrain effects. The first terrain effect is difficult ground can be defined as wood, marsh, broken or rocky ground, or pile of rubble. All those are placed in the same category of ground. It doesn't have an impact on infantry, but do have an impact on any vehicle. So what happens is, if my infantry want to cross a wood, for example here, his range off-road, on-road is 5 inches. So really easy, you calculate his 5 inches, and you can move him 5 inches without any problem. And the wood doesn't affect him. Next time, if you want to get out of the wood, same thing will happen. you will calculate is 5 inches, and it can move up to 5 inches as well. Now it's a bit different for any vehicle. Battlegroup, even with all those rules, are really basic and easy to understand. It is an armored car, a tank, or a truck. The same principle will apply regardless of the army. So what you do is, in this case, the truck is 8 inches range off-road, the tank as well, and the armored vehicle. But depending on what you drive, it may be different. You just have to look at the table. It will tell you what you do. If the vehicle wants to go through the wood, you look at the distance. 8 inches you can move. So you need to roll, because you're going to enter the wood, you need to roll a d6. You take the range of your vehicle minus the result of your d6, and it will tell you the range it can move. So for this example, you roll a 6, then the range is 8 inches, minus 6, he can move only 2 inches. It's not enough to enter the wood, and it will stop before entering the wood. So you don't move like 3 inches to enter the wood, then subtract the remaining with the dice. From the point of start of the vehicle movement order, you roll the dice, and it is your range minus the total of the dice. Let's say for this one we mark a 3, so that means my tank can move 8 inches, minus 3, so he can move 5 inches. So he entered the wood. As long as he is in the wood, every movement order that would be given to the tank, he will need the same principle. Distance 8 inches minus the roll of the dice, and that will give him how far he can go on this movement orders. When he crosses the wood, then there's no more effect. He can go on his movement order to the full distance. So in this case, it was rolled a 2, so minus 8 minus 2, 6. He can move 6 inches. It passed the wood. After that, he would be able to do his normal off-road movement. The same will apply to the off-road vehicle. For the truck, he had to stop before entering the wood. So his next movement order, you do the same, range 8 inches, minus the dice, 2. He moves 6 inches, so he can move 6 inches from the front of his vehicle, 6 inches to the front of the vehicle. He is still in the wood. That means next turn he will need to roll again with the dice to know how far he can move. The next terrain effect is obstacle. If a unit crosses an obstacle such as a wall or an edge, then again reduce the total movement distance by d6. So regardless of the fact that it is a wall made of rock, or just a wood fence, or hedgerow, the same principle applies to all vehicles. Infantry can cross them, no issue with them. But vehicle, regardless it is a tank or a truck, will have all the same effect. And it is the same then for difficult ground. The range of the vehicle off-road in this case, minus the total of your dice, will give him his range. So if that range make him pass through, next time he have a movement order, he can go to this maximum range. Or if there's another obstacle, you have to take that into account. So because it's a brick wall, it doesn't change for the truck, the armored vehicle, or the tank. The Battlegroup consider that as an obstacle and have the same effect. So the range of your vehicle off-road minus the total of your dice tell you how far you can go. If it stopped before, next order, you will have to do the same thing to pass through it. If you pass through it on the first order, then your next order are clear of the obstacle and he can move according to his range. Dangerous ground like barbed wire, minefield, or even across a street slope, etc., then it can only move D6, meaning regardless of the vehicle, and even for the infantry, it's not that easy to pass barbed wire or minefield, for example. They have all the same rule. It's not distance of the unit of vehicle minus a D6. In this case, for dangerous ground, you roll a D6 and it will tell you the distance of your vehicle or infantry. So if I roll a D2 for my truck, for example, it can move only 2 inches, so it's just before. If I roll a 6 for my tank, he can move 6 inches, so that make him pass the barbed wire. For infantry, let's say he roll a 6, but we know the infantry range is 5 inches. So even if you roll a 6, it doesn't make any difference. The maximum range he have is 5 inches, so he can only move 5 inches. So that will make him cross the barbed wire. Next turn, my truck still have to roll a dice to know the distance to pass through the barbed wire, while the others are free to continue. In the case of minefield, for example, if my truck or vehicle or infantry enter a minefield, it would be in the middle of the minefield, so they might have some effect about that, like detonate a mine. I will not touch this right now. When we go to engineering training video, I will touch more in detail minefield, who can remove them, how they do that, and who enter the minefield, how it may detonate a mine, and what is the process after that. But for the dangerous ground, this is how it goes. You roll the dice and it gives you the range your vehicle may travel. If he stopped before, then you will have to roll the dice again to cross the obstacle. If he crossed the obstacle, then after that he would be able to do as normal for his movement. And that includes infantry, vehicle, all vehicle or infantry will have to do the same compared to the other where the infantry is not affected by. The last terrain effect is impassable terrain, meaning river, cliff are kind of impassable for vehicle or infantry. If infantry or thing try to cross, or even vehicle, water, it will sink and be destroyed. Then you have to take a battle counter. So they are considered impassable terrain. You may have smaller water crossing, like a stream. In that case, with your people you play with, you just have to say, this is a stream, you can cross, no problem, but if there's a river, then more than likely you cannot cross without a bridge. So it's an impassable terrain, and if that way, if you try to cross, you will be destroyed, and you will have to take a battle rating counter, regardless infantry or vehicle. The same with a cliff. You cannot climb a cliff with a truck, so it's impassable terrain. So that goes for all the terrain effect and that impact movement. Vehicle reversing. Some game when you want to move your vehicle in another direction that is different than where it is facing, you just turn the vehicle and move up to your maximum distance. So if you play other game like Flames of War, if you want your tank to move his maximum range 8 inches, for example, you just turn him and move 8 inches. And most of the time, you're going to turn it back facing the enemy. In Battlegroup, it is a bit more sophisticated. If you want to change direction of your tank, it will cost you. If you go that way, then it costs nothing. But if you want to go 90 degrees, like this, it would cost you, on your maximum range, 1 inch. So it costs you 1 inch to turn. So you have 7 inches left to move in the off-road. In the case of the tank, you want to go backward. If you want to move it, you have to turn it around. So 3 inches. The cost is to turn around. So you can move another 5 inches in the opposite direction than the enemy. So the enemy, if they try to shoot the tank, they would be shooting at the back of the vehicle, at the rear, and they have thinner armor. So most of the time what you want to do is have your tank backing up. So the front armor stay in front. So most of the time in front of the enemy, and you feel like the situation is pretty difficult, you just want to back him up. In this case, your range is 8 inches off-road. You roll a d6. The total, for example, 4, means you take your vehicle, 8 minus 4, it can move backward 4 inches. So you put it this way, and you back up 4 inches. So far, every movement are pretty easy. They can move off-road according to the distance of the vehicle. If they have different ground, it can be affected. So difficult ground, obstacle, it's always the range minus the d6. The same for reversing, it's the range minus the d6. If we go with dangerous ground like barbed wire and minefield, you roll a d6 and that will give you the range you can move. And Impassable Terrain, it said it cannot pass through water or cliff. So that's pretty much all movement and the different terrain you can encounter. Now we have an infantry unit here, an infantry squad, and you want him to enter the building. So you give him the order of movement. He can move up to 5 inches. So he moved 5 inches. So that would bring him right beside the building. If it is less than 1 inches, meaning it can be, in this case, the base of the unit, and most of the unit are on the base, then you will be able to enter the building. So basically you move your infantry at the movement order to the maximum of its movement, not going more than that. If you finish, and most of your unit is less than 1 inches of the building, then your unit can enter the building. If, for example, in this case, my single guy here is less than 1 inches and the infantry is more, because most of the unit is still too far from the building, this guy cannot enter the building, and those one as well. So most of the unit, well, let's say it's at least 50% plus, is less than an inch from the building, then he can enter the building on that movement. So that's how you enter the building for your infantry. Now those guys has been few turns inside the building, The battlefield has moved again. It's time for them to get out. On your movement, on your orders sequence, you take that unit and you give him the order to move. Those guys are gonna go down the stair, through the door, for example, or windows on any side of the building. Because they had to move inside the building, battle group, assume that it will give you the movement of 2.5 inches outside the building. So when you exit, you can go 2.5 inches away from the building. And that will complete your movement order for this guy. If you have a double-double, then you can move another 5 inches. But movement order, he can shoot and then move. He shoot, and then it will move out to a maximum of 2.5 inches. That's how you enter the building and exit the building for infantry. Transport vehicle and infantry. When the infantry climb aboard the vehicle, the order is given to the vehicle itself, not the infantry. So in this case, for example, you give the order to the truck to embark infantry. So any infantry unit that is less than 4 inches from your truck can enter the truck. When you look at the soft skin table for the truck, it will tell you how many infantry unit can enter. So the squad is 5 guys, and the truck is 10, if I remember right, 10 or 12. So in the case of the truck, he give the order, so the squad enter the truck. Then the second part, he can move now up to off-road for the truck, so he can move 8 inches. The same will apply to the aft track. Movement order to the aft track. The aft track give the first part embark, so the infantry climb aboard. Then the aft track will move. While they are inside the vehicle, you cannot give any order to the infantry. If the vehicle gets shot at, only the vehicle is shot at, the enemy cannot aim at the infantry inside those vehicles. If, for example, the aft track have a machine gun on it, move with infantry on board and decide to fire at the enemy, so we give the order move and fire. The aft track move, then the second part fire at the enemy. Only the machine gun on board the aft track will shoot at, and the infantry will stay put inside the vehicle. If you want to give an order to the infantry on board the vehicle, you cannot. The only order will be given if the squad unit on board the vehicle have a special rule for artillery spotter, mortar spotter, or air spotter, then he can receive the order for spotting artillery, mortar, or air while inside the vehicle. Then again, you can decide the infantry is on board of any of those vehicles. It's your turn, you give the order, disembark. Then the infantry will disembark 4 inches away from the truck or the aft track. And then he may choose to shoot or move again, or he just move and disembark. Then a second order can be given to the infantry to shoot or move or whatever he can do. But while on board, they cannot receive orders, except if they have the special rule of spotter. Overrunning deployed guns. Let's say we have an instinct gun, British over here, even if it's German, but let's say they are British. My German tank is over here. Previous turn, the instinct shot at him, miss. So my German crew decide to get rid of the instinct. He gave the order move and move again. So he moved 8 inches. Then the second move become overrun order. In this case, if they have less than 8 inches, you have enough to pass over the anti-tank. So you got the order overrun. If the anti-tank gun have the ambush order, it may say it at this time and try to shoot the tank. If he misses, for example, then the tank will try to overrun. If he doesn't have the ambush order, then the tank will try to run over the anti-tank. To see if he's successful running over the anti-tank, the anti-tank will use the cover safe table, try to roll, and if he pass, he's not destroyed, and if he miss, he will be destroyed. In the case of an infantry or deployed gun in the open, like the case here, he need to roll a 6. Let's say roll a 5, the tank pass over it, the anti-tank gun is destroyed. And the enemy will have to take a battle counter. So that's how overrun work. You gave the order to move, that transformed to order overrun. It will approach to his max 8 inches, if that make him pass over it. The only way the anti-tank can avoid that is to do a cover safe table roll. So you look at the table, he is in the open, he needs a 6 to avoid to be destroyed. If that case he failed, then the tank pass over him and the anti-tank is destroyed. So that complete my video on the movement order. If you have any comment, or if you saw that I did not provide the right explanation of a movement, please put in the comments below, let me know, and also in the rule book on what page I can find the explanation you are trying to tell me. So thank you for watching my video. I'll see you soon with my next video. Bye-bye.